It is Jillian, so it's Sunday, and I figure since my husband is taking a shower and he's indisposed, I can kind of just do this video real quick down here. Um, and the reason why is because, I like to have a little peace and quiet when I'm doing my Facebook Lives. Not saying that he's loud, but it's nice to have a little privacy, I guess, even though I'm in a public space because this is a public room, so to speak. It's a shared room. And yeah. So anyways, I've been just kind of perusing my Facebook and I'm getting into the tone of my book so I don't have any residual biases in the background when I'm writing. And that's one of the things that I am aware of are residual biases when it comes to what I post and then also what I write. And so you'll see me completely like take one side, like about conspiracy theories, and those that deny them are probably the ones that have a lot more to hide over others that don't, deny conspiracy theories. And, in a lot of ways, I see it as a truth and a fact because it's hard to admit that you're not perfect. It's hard to admit that you have things in your past that you've done that you're not proud of. And so if you deny that you have those weaknesses and things that you've done that you're not proud of, then it's easy to deny that it happens out there. Because if you actually face your own weaknesses and foibles and discrepancies in your personality, then if you deny it, then you don't have to actually face what goes on out there, and you can live in that fantasy world. Okay, and then I also take it to the other side. Like I've said, if you are living from the conspiracy world, looping all the time to the nth degree, where you're shoving your belief system down somebody's throat, where you're always coming from the one-sided point of view that, this political party, this belief system, this religion, whatever is bad, then you fail to see why people believe in it to begin with. If you see there's something wrong with somebody else's belief system and they think there's something wrong with your belief system, maybe you both have a shared, weakness in both your belief systems, and maybe because they're too extreme. What makes your belief system so much better than somebody else's? Oh, well, they're so deluded. Yeah, well, people they think you're deluded too. What makes them think that you're deluded? Because you fail to see their point of view. And so you have two sides that fail to see each other's point of view, and they're going to take each other over the cliff. Okay, so those that are only for Trump and those are only for Biden, those are who are only pro-vax, those are who are only anti-vax, those for only organic, for those that are only for GMO. I'm telling you, every single polarized point of view fails to see a middle ground. And so this is why Jilly Juice is not a fad. This is why Jilly Juice will never be political. This is why Jilly Juice will be drama free. I don't want any drama in my group. There's already enough drama out there with people who are dealing with cancer disease, chronic illness, fighting their little battles of politics, and bullying people trying to take part in the cancel culture. There's so much drama out there that I want my group and my world to be drama free, where I don't have to deal with so many human foibles. I mean, I'm not perfect. I have my weaknesses and I have my strengths. My husband has his weaknesses and has his strengths. My dog has her weaknesses and strengths. And that's enough for, my daily life. And so this is why I keep my business page will have certain posts that will have people say whatever they say, and that's fine. You can kind of see if you do go through my business page, and there are some posts that I let the trolls do whatever they want. I don't care because it's really not. It's like it's no point in me trying to control the tide of people that just don't understand. So let them have their little voice, okay? But I keep my world relatively drama free. Okay. And so that's the whole point, of taking a middle ground. It's keeping your world relatively drama free. You still have your belief systems. You still acknowledge that, yes, there's some out there in the world that's going on, and you can't control it. Okay. You can only control you and what you do. And are you going to stand the test of time? Because here's the thing. Yes, Jilly Juice is still a thing. People are like, my little trolls that are in different parts of my business page are like, is she still a thing? Oh yeah, this isn't like a fad. Because Dr. Phil put me on his show so he can exploit his belief system and try to cancel me, doesn't mean that I'm going to disappear because of how he characterized this. He gave you a choice, actually. Even though it was a fucked up way of presenting my information, he still gave you a choice, and you're still choosing. Okay, so yes, Jilly Juice is still a thing because Jilly Juice is timeless. White salt is timeless. Cabbage is timeless. Water is timeless. You know, uh, chaos and order to chaos is timeless. Jilly Juice is not a fad. It is not a diet. It is not political. It doesn't discriminate. It's drama free. But are you timeless? Are you a fad? Are you on a diet? Are you political? And are you discriminatory? And now, just so you understand, just so you know, I do not discriminate against a person, place, or thing. However, I do have boundaries of which people who discriminate against people, places, and things will always violate those boundaries all the time. And that's why we have law enforcement. That's why we have law enforcement. That's why we have, a government. Because there are people who discriminate against people, places, and things based upon their imbalanced biochemistry, and they cross boundaries. And it turns into someone like a Jeffrey Epstein, who's the extreme end of crossing boundaries because they have imbalances, to someone who will go and partake in the Capitol riots, just hurting policemen and trying to destroy government officials. Okay? And then you have the FBI profiling people online and determining whether or not if there are credible threats out there, or someone just blowing off steam or voicing an opinion. And the FBI knows what kind of person is more imbalanced over another. So I thank God that they have that kind of training to discern who is just talking smack and who's actually, really that dumb that needs to be profiled a little more intently. Okay, so Jilly Juice will always be a thing. It will stand the test of time, and those that are doing Jilly Juice will stand the test of time because they understand biochemistry and chemistry. Okay? And so one of the exercises that I encourage my Jilly Juicers to be on is to take any kind of controversial subject that you have very strong feelings over and learn how to articulate the other side's argument. So if you are an anti-vaxxer and you hate vaccines and you're so staunch and you're so like, oh my God, fight the power or whatever the hell, I want you now to learn how to back up the vaccines, to be a proponent for the vaccines, to take away all of your biases and learn how to stand in that person's shoes. If you are anti-doctor, if you are anti any other religion, if you take an extreme point of view on something, on a person, place, or thing, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, I want you to stand in that other person's shoe and I want you to learn how to articulate their argument to where you're so convincing they think you actually take that on that point of view. Now, you've seen me take both sides around the vaccines as well as, the anti-vax and the pro-vax. You've seen me do that. You've seen me take sides as far as the conspiracy for and against. I know there are conspiracies out there because I understand humanity. Look at the jails. Look at the mugshots. Look at all the different the allegations in the court system. The freaking dockets are full of people who conspire with each other to do harm to each other or to exploit, citizens who don't know any better, like the phone scammers and all that stuff. They all are in a conspiracy to try to take your money, pretending to be like, Amazon or somebody else. Okay, so we know conspiracies exist. It's not fucking rocket science, people. Okay? But do I have to live from that world that, oh my God, there's a conspiracy here, a conspiracy there, and I got to be the one to fight the power and to bring justice to everybody, regardless if it's even, worth your time? I mean, that's a very imbalanced person. but I can acknowledge that that stuff exists, but I don't live from that. I can give you the warnings that, okay, there's a lot of restructuring going on, there's a lot of repurposing going on, and you're given a choice, okay? And there's also, you have to deal with public health and your community and how, they're going to have to cater to the lowest common denominator. And where are you going to be during that process? Are you going to be the one to resist every single public policy? Or are you going to find a middle ground and find a way to meet your community halfway with people who believe in one thing or believe in another? And so I can kind of tell who's doing the J juice, or I can tell who has is finding or is finally connecting their body, mind, and spirit, unifying them, because they're saying, okay, I don't necessarily have to take this extreme side, this extreme point of view. Oh, I know some of you do. I can see by the way you post and the exclamation points and your assertions that, yeah, to you it's fact. Okay, when you say that they're lying, who knows if they're lying or not? Can you actually substantiate it? Or are they just taking a different perspective? Because remember, every single belief system can be backed up by science. Do you know that? Every single belief system. I don't care what it is, whether it's the alien agenda or whether it's, people passing away from therapeutics and vaccines. Yeah, but people also living from them too. Okay? So there is every single belief system. I don't care what it is, because it's all based upon, all belief systems are based upon the limitations of your world. All the knowledge in the world, what you know and what you don't know. And there is some kind of documentation to back up your belief system. So just because you have a belief system that's backed up by documentation doesn't mean that it's actually a fact for everybody. It just means that you've taken that perspective and this is your narrow point of view and you want to shove that down other people's throats. Okay, so I can tell who is very, very emphatic with their belief system, to where it's like you can tell you're an extremist, and I can tell someone, we're like, okay, I see where I've come from a very extreme point of view, and now I get it that the other side also has a valid point of view, and let me see if I can stand in their shoes for just a minute. Doesn't mean you have to actually sit. Like, let me tell you, if I don't like vaccines, I hate shots, but if it becomes mandatory for me to take part in certain things that I want to take part in society, I'll do them. I can handle them because I can handle the action potential and whatever is in them. Nothing's in them that's anything that's out of the ordinary. It's just a bunch of different parts of the microbiome. No different than when you go outside and there's some areas are more polluted than others. Your body's going to have to adjust. Okay? Your body's going to have to adjust. And that's just like with government. If you don't like Biden, your body's going to have to adjust to find that middle ground, to recalibrate, so that way you can still fit into a society that has Biden versus Trump. But if you keep resisting and saying, oh God, Trump is so bad, or oh God, Biden's so bad, or oh God, this is so bad, then you are one of those that failed to know how to adapt and evolve. You'll take such an extreme side that you'll end up going over the cliff anyways, just like you have prophesized that is going to happen, because people believe in this, because they're not changing their minds, or not revolting like you are, or whatever. And so this is why I go on Facebook Live, because I have to get rid of my biases. You know what's fun is learning how to articulate an argument and be very convincing. And not even convincing, to be able to be able to substantiate it with the same documentation. That's what's so amazing, is that every single belief system has documentation to support your thesis. And so then why do I take the sides I take about as far as religious? Because I believe in life. I believe in life. That's it. And life isn't political, but it becomes political when you have a belief system about what life should be, how it should be conducted, how long it should be, who should be in your life. Okay, but life is just life. It's just data that's organized. And I believe in organized data that contributes to a life. Everything else, all the arguments and the politics and the religion and the science, it's all freaking chatter. It's distraction. All the leaders out there that are not just enforcing laws, they're distracting the shit out of you. And let me tell you, you're buying it, you're falling for it hook, line, and sinker. So yeah, I could see those that gravitate towards me saying, okay, the conspiracy theorists definitely have, they understand that there's some stuff going on. But it doesn't mean you live from that. It doesn't mean that you take that argument and use that as your platform, like to substantiate your belief system. Because let me tell you, the other side of it is, you know, why live from that belief system 24/7, living in fear, thinking everyone is out to get you, being paranoid? So then what do? You straddle both worlds. You acknowledge that this does exist. Doesn't mean that it has to exist, in all facets of life, but it does exist, and it doesn't run you. But you're not completely in denial like a freaking ostrich pretending that you live in freaking Candyland either, to where then you don't recognize indicators of danger to keep you out of danger, to keep your kids out of danger. That's the danger of denial too. So you realize that yes, you can acknowledge both sides and find a middle ground between both and still protect your kids and still be able to function in society without fighting people, without discriminating people, without taking part in bully campaigns. But that's those that are not on the J juice or have experienced enough of the benefits of J juice to see that possibility that you can take a middle ground. Because you still want to fight. Because right now you're probably still fighting for your life. Those are on the J juice that still take those two extreme sides, whether it's politics, religion, science, or whatever. You're still fighting for your life. I understand that. And I hope you keep upping the intake, because I don't want the atmosphere and all the politics and the stress to undermine your healing process. So I want you to be aware that I'm aware of even those on my Jilly juice still are fighting for their life. They still want to take the extremes. But if you are a Jewish person, a Muslim, a Jehovah's Witness, a Yah person, I want you now to take part and pretend that you're someone that isn't a Jewish person, a Yah, or a Christian, or an atheist. And I want you to take on their arguments on why they don't like your religion, on why they like their religion or their belief system. That's an exercise that I think everyone should do. Because then you might actually understand why people think the way they do, and then you take yourself out of the freaking war. But you must be able to articulate something other than your usual yappity, 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 yappity. You got to bring in other words. You got to bring in other information. You got to go outside of your doctrines, your algorithms, and start punching in a different question like, what is the background of Muslims? What is the background of an atheist? Why are atheists atheists? Who wrote the Bible? Why do they write the Bible? Why do doctors do what they do? Start asking questions and change up the algorithms on your Google, on your Facebook, and on your YouTube, so you can get some different information and stand in somebody else's shoes for once in your life. All right? Learn the other person's perspective. So no, I'm not oblivious to what goes on as far as people in my Jilly Juice world, as well as those that are out there spewing their hatred, taking a very extreme point of view. I'm aware of it, and I acknowledge it, and I challenge you to learn how to understand the other person's point of view and speak from it as if you actually bought that point of view as well. And you don't have to follow it, you don't have to believe in it from the root core, but you have to learn how to speak about it and understand it as if you were it. Because believe me, I don't like vaccines, but I understand why they exist, and I'll take them if I have to. It doesn't mean that I, have to support it 100%. It'll be the last resort. But I know that I can survive them if need be, whatever is in them. As long as it's not a lethal injection that you get from the death row, I'll survive whatever that's out there as regarding public policy. Okay? So that's my challenge, is if you have a very extreme point of view that you believe in, learn how to articulate the other side's argument. And if you can't, it means that you have no, I don't know. You have the inability to be able to understand the world that you live in because it's about your agenda, your belief system, and how you want to ram your shit down someone else's throat. And that's why we're in a war, because you fail to be able to understand other people in your world. Good luck. Bye.